Thank you so much. Really great to be here. And I missed some of the earlier part of this panels and few other things of the event, but I am going to go tune back. But thank you for the great recap. Sounds like very productive session. So again, just to introduce myself, I am Dev Singh, part of MITRE Ingenuity effort as well, but more importantly, leading the drones and robotics charter at Qualcomm. So on the next slide, I'll try to move to the next slide. So for those who, I'm sure most of you know Qualcomm, but for those who don't, we've been in the pioneer for leading the wireless technology innovation. We are headquartered in San Diego. More importantly, Qualcomm, if you want to think about Qualcomm, we are a systems engineering company that solves technological problems with a great deal of R&D in leading technology that's not only defined what mobile technology is has been and is going to be, but also redefining computing. And more importantly, now we are focused on transforming industries, be it factories or industries to healthcare to retail, all facets of things wherever technology is applicable. And we'll be talking more about the 5G aspect of things as well, but that's not the only thing. And a very good point that was brought up earlier is yes, drones is a great use case, but what I'm trying to go do in this session today is also talk about the big picture of the opportunity that's in front of us. So with that, I will dive in. So the opportunity in front of us is tremendous. I mean, digital transformation is not only a buzzword, but it is a key thing that's happening and touching every vertical that you can think of, be it retail, be it energy utilities. Everything is being redefined in terms of technology, and the digital transformation is happening. So we are just at the beginning of one of the largest opportunities in history across these segments. And just for Qualcomm alone, we are looking at an addressable market of 700 billion in this next decade. And the key technology things is going to be is the AI and 5G that is going to be in center of it. But there's a lot of other things that come together. But just take an example, consumer IoT. What is consumer IoT? Look at our daily lives as well. How things have transformed just over pandemic. Our homes have gone through digital transformation. Most of us are taking calls from home. Video conferencing, telepresence is becoming essential. AI is everywhere now, right? AI is everywhere in terms of homes as well. Now you have IoT devices, appliances that are connected every time. Everything is connected, and 5G expansion is happening. So more fundamentally, for all of these to happen, we do think 5G is going to be the key backbone of all of that. 5G is the one essential technology in conjunction with few others are going to help the digital future that we are envisioning. And 5G itself presents a huge opportunity. I think if you look at industry analysts reports, there is a one $13.1 trillion global economy output projected with 5G alone by 2035. So that is very interesting, and it's not only touching mobile phones. So 5G was fundamentally a technology that was defined not with just mobile phones in mind. The three vectors are massive IoT and mission critical aspect of things, which includes Industry 4.0, which includes all the automation, transportation, and all of that. So the the areas that are going to be touched by this is going to be things like mining, things like agriculture, uh, things like even ports and other logistics as well. So there is a lot of goodness that's going to come together with 5G per se, and it's going to be a it is already a very powerful technology. The inception of 5G, at least we rolled out 5G in 2019. We've been working at it for decades. We rolled it out in 2019, and right now it is in a very expansion mode. So, having said that, 5G definitely is a technology that by itself is very powerful in terms of the impact that it's going to have. And AI, we are already being touched by AI in every aspects of our life. You pick up your phone, you will get a recommendation of something because it's learning based on the behaviors of people. Alexa at home is a poster child for AI and things like that, right? But nonetheless, both these technologies very important, very powerful, but the magic really happens when these technologies come together. That's what is the unison of 5G and AI is the age of innovation. The two technologies combined are fundamental to our vision of the wireless intelligent edge. And this is not only for on-device processing, some of this will cover in next slides, but how the distributed intelligence is going to affect billions of connected things, massive amounts of data moving, and both AI and 5G working in unison help each other improve their performances. And I'll cover some of that as well in a bit. So when it comes to 5G and AI, yes, AI, for example, has been there for a decade, around a decade as well, in terms of a lot of things have evolved. But when AI started, it was always associated with the central cloud. But now AI is moving to the edge. What does that mean? I think I can elaborate a little bit more on that. But more and more, we are seeing that devices not only are talking to the cloud, but inherently are becoming intelligent at edge, and which is also a fundamental thing that is going to enable the digital transformation. Be it in factories and all, sometimes you don't have situations that you'll be always connected to the cloud as well. So in those cases, uh, that's where AI at the edge is going to be important. But to really make sense of this and to enable the transformation um, of the industries, the devices need to be evolving. Be it drones, be it robots, they need to have a right level of advanced connectivity, high performance computing at low power, low energy form factor, but with the intent of having a distributed intelligence approach of things. And to that matter, while cloud has its importance, but intelligence at the device is paramount. If you look at drone, if you look at the RB5 platform that we have, what what that's an example of a device or a use case where a drone is in the field. It needs to make decisions to see what's in front of it, avoid obstacle, or to be able to sense and avoid, sense and detect. All of that needs to happen, and it needs to happen at real time. So that's just an anecdote why on-device intelligence is paramount, and that is also fundamental to what MITRE and we are all doing. Is one thing is to make sure that how is the drone application going to take take vast adoption. It is only when the regulations get in a way comfortable for mass adoption is beyond visual line of sight enablement. And how is that going to happen? It's going to happen when we as an industry can prove that drones are really safe. They are intelligent. They can make decisions, and they can uh, take care of the situation. Not that they have to talk to the cloud or they lose connectivity. Their unknowns need to be taken away, and that's where on-device intelligence becomes more and more important. And that's one aspect of it. And if you touch upon a few more things around that, it becomes very evident that the whole concept of digital transformation is part of it being a truly distributed, connected, intelligent edge. And this has happened at scale. There is time for on-device intelligence, but again, you have to balance that out because, yeah, we talked about on-device AI, but there is constraints like power, thermal, uh, cost factors. There's also constraints of amount of data that can happen on edge. So with 5G coming in picture, where you can have this seamless connectivity between the device, the edge cloud, and the central cloud. And 5G serves as this pipe that makes this transition seamless and easy. And that way, we don't have to worry about, okay, you have on-device intelligence, you take care of it, but when you need to tap into this expanded brain, there is a low latency communication that happens where you can use technology which is coming with 5G, release 17 and others, able to do give you all of that. So that is the vision that we have in terms of proving that things that we are working on are safe, and also not only have use cases but also justify their existence in terms of being able to uh, be norm acceptable to the regulations, and all of that is going to be a reality with all of this put in place. And that's, we've started in the journey already. And and again, in the beginning we talked about this, right? We said, okay, there is just not one use case. There is a lot of goodness happening. There is a huge opportunity of this connected intelligent edge or on device AI and the distributed computing across industries. Just few examples that you can see here is factories, security use cases. If you look at manufacturing plants like Tesla factories, you'll see lights out manufacturing. You'll see lights out fulfillment centers with AI, robotics in effect. But at the same time, when you think about inspection in utilities, when you think about public safety, there are several of these use cases that need this distributed intelligent edge with smart devices like drones, robots, and also static cameras and few others that will all benefit with this technology that we are working on. And I know I'm deviating from the overall picture of the focus on drones, but what I'm trying to step back and do here is talk about use cases that have similarities, and one of that comes to mind, and we can see here is a factory of the future. If you look at this, I mean, this is a good example of how Industry 4.0 evolves in a highly automated and interconnected intelligent systems that require ultra reliable, low latency communication between machine to machine. As a result, we are seeing that manufacturing sectors is is growing with in-house network, moving away from established network operators. What that means is private networks are becoming more important. So technology like 5G is enabling public networks, private networks, and all of this. And it's not one particular, not but one particular device. It is this fabric of device being a gateway or a security camera or the robot working in tandem on the same network is what I think is going to unlock this future of a intelligent factory. And this applies not only to factories. If you step back and look at a city, that's the same thing that's going to happen when there is a drone flying, and drone is able to easily communicate with infrastructure with V2X. And when they are able to a public safety officer is able to understand a situational awareness with a drone footage and with a live body camera footage being uh, being actually uh, merged into a view that gives better situational awareness, is just some of the things that we can think of, right? And then a lot of the things that we don't know today are also going to happen. And when it comes to drones, particularly, and I'm not going to elaborate more on this because we, as part of MITRE Ingenuity, are looking at all these use cases. And I think we've talked about these during the other sessions as well. But think about just one thing here. I mean, inspection. I like to give this example a lot. How drones are redefining how inspection is done. There's an anecdote of the wind turbines. Wind turbines are Wind farms are $1 billion of investment. Each wind turbine or a single blade costs over $1 million. These are very, very valuable machines, but at the same time their output, which is energy, is also very valuable. So inspection is very important for the utility companies to make sure they're getting the best out of their infrastructure. But at the same time, all these are regulated industries and they need to have inspection to meet the regulations as well. So how do they do it? In past, if you look at that, a wind turbine, people would shut the wind turbine down, three people rappel up and down, and it takes about 8 hours for people to have a wind turbine inspected. And fast forward now with a drone, that same inspection can be done in 15 minutes. So look at the value that's been created. Not that uh, it's just that we are doing it faster, but now it is the uptime of the wind turbine, output of the energy output. All of these value has tremendous impact on the economy overall. And more importantly, these are putting people to do jobs that are more meaningful rather than being in harm's way, is another very good social benefit of having things like 5G AI at the edge and enabling use cases like inspection. I can go on and on and on. Public safety, agriculture, precision agriculture. There is a mandate of reduction of usage of pesticides. How is that going to happen? That's going to happen with precision agriculture. And what is precision agriculture? Knowing what is a problem and only addressing that. And that can only happen by automation. But nonetheless, these anecdotes are continuing to happen at MITRE and OpenGen. We have test beds that are looking at all these tracks and innovating around this. And what we are proud of is the RB5 platform that serves as a basic building block for any of these applications. But nonetheless, in the interest of time, we'll save some of this for discussion, and if there are questions, I can answer that as well. But the message I want to bring here is 5G, AI, unisons of these technologies is very powerful. But as industry, there are a lot of unknowns and there's a lot of worries about the unknowns, and we working together to have these use cases experimented out in the test beds, have recommendations going back to the decision makers, to the policy makers for regulations as well, is what our charter is, and that's what we are proud of doing and working with. And that's where I will leave it, where the work that is being done is going to accelerate the transformation of various industries. With that, I think I will turn it over and just mention that, hey, driving expansion of 5G is the charter among all our peers here.
Thanks, Dave, from Qualcomm for very informative keynote on evolving capabilities of 5G and AI technologies. We had a great start on the afternoon session. This is the last day of the summit, and we all know that how 5G and AI can play the key role in digital transformation of various industry. Yesterday, we heard a lot about healthcare, smart factories, how the agriculture can take advantage of it. So we are getting more and more about 5G and AI, how those industries adopt it. Well, another thing you mentioned about devices are getting smarter. Also, we are talking now about centralized AI versus AI at the edge, and AI also distributed intelligence. So, great topics. We have more coming in the afternoon, and we'll talk about that later. Uh, Before I go further, let me introduce myself. I am Dipesh Modi. We are in the final session today, and I'm going to introduce the next three panels who are going to talk about advanced technologies in the 5G and changing dynamics of telecom. Telecom is changing rapidly, and we are all part of it at this time. Uh, Before I go further, let me just introduce myself. Who am I? Uh, I am Dipesh Modi, Principal Communication Engineer at MITRE Corporation. I am based in McLean, Virginia. I got 25 plus years of working experience in telecom. I have done software, network, planning, implementation. I work with communication service providers, wireless providers, technology suppliers. I have also worked on voice, IMS, and a lot of other things on LT and 5G. As part of MITRE Labs and 5G platform, we are doing a lot of innovative works. We are doing a cutting 5G technology solutions and capabilities. We provide that to our internal sponsors and other projects. We work on NSA, SA, FR1, FR2 band. We work on ORAN. We work on MAC, network slicing. We have a lot of hands-on experience, and we are involved directly into the 5G technologies. Let's go back to the what I do for OpenGen Consortium. I'm also part of the OpenGen Consortium through MITRE Engineering team. I am in this program since inception in late 2020. I am chairing the architecture and solutions working group. This work group's primary focus is defining the architecture to support the US and 5G networks at this time. We also take into account the telecom and aviation standards, regulations, which can reduce restriction, and how can we mitigate those things. Also, we support the high priority use cases. We work on three important use cases last year. We also figure out innovative solutions for experiment. We heard in the morning, standards takes time. They do not develop overnight. Also, vendors takes time to implement those standards. So we have to find a way to move forward by identifying some of the solution which can allow us to do certain experiments so we can also make impact to the standards while they are in process of developing. We also take those into this working group. In case you have missed, we released our first version of architecture framework document for US over 5G. It's on this website. Make sure you go and check it out and let us know if you have any feedback. That's the first version. We are working on the next version, which also takes into account the future use cases such as AAM and other UTM related work. Uh, Let me focus on the next thing we are working on it. We are also, you may have heard yesterday and today that OpenGen Consortium has established three test beds, and one of them is at Newark in the Griffith, New York. Second one is coming up at Virginia Tech, Plattsburgh, and also one at the Northeastern University. Both are approved. Both are FAA approved test sites. Outdoor one. I am the technical lead and key player for all of the test beds. I'm primarily leading the newer test bed. Have been involved in all the planning, deployment, vendor selection, and even hands-on experience doing the actual testing on site. And we are in the final phase of optimization. We are very excited that that test bed should be available for our OpenGen experiments pretty soon. So looking forward to that. Before I spend too much time on introduction, let's go back to the panel. What's coming up next? If I go to the next slide, please. Yep. Next slide. Our first panel discussion is going to be focusing on AI, ML, and edge computing. We heard a lot from Dave on this topic. Rika Nakazawa, GVP of NTT Global, is going to moderate this panel. And let's focus on basic fundamentals. What are we talking edge computing? We have heard everywhere. In my opinion, edge computing is where computing takes place near the physical location of the user or where the source of the data is generated. By having this edge computing close to the user, you are moving all the resources closer to where users are, which allows us to build a high performance application, which can process a lot of data and store it, which is close to the user. What it does, ultimately, it results in a low latency. It provides intelligent and real-time responses, and users feels good about it. Gaming, AR, VR, all of the examples are there. Now, second topic, they've already talked about AI ML. What is AI ML? I mean, if I go back again, AI usually refers to the processes and algorithms that are able to simulate human intelligence, including mimicking functions such as perception, learning, and problem solving. ML is kind of a technology and part of the AI and computer science, which focuses more on how to process the data and algorithms in such a way that humans and we process and with accuracy. And there is a lot of data generated by all these networks. So this is the way to move forward. And what are we talking about AI ML application? We have seen this day-to-day basis. Dave also mentioned that Alexa, Siri, they knows everything about us. They know what we are doing. They learn from what we do, they observe, and they create a models and algorithms. So to help us better, when we look for some information, they can provide writers. Netflix, most of our Netflix shows we watch is based on the recommendation. Netflix knows what we watch, what time we watch, what's coming up next, and they feed us those. And most of the time we spend is on recommendation. Well, this is all AI, ML, and cloud, but what is the benefit for 5G over here? 5G has already adopted cloud computing. We are seeing a cloud native architecture. There is always a talk about multi-access edge computing. We know that the high AR, VR, and other video games kind of applications, you put those applications closer to the user, they get much better application, much better experience with a few milliseconds of latency. We have also seen that 5G core network architecture, it allows us to distribute it. You can put the UPF very close to the edge. O-RAN based architecture, which allows you to put real-time and non-real-time intelligent platform also closer to the edge or in the centralized locations. Uh, let's see what's coming up next after the AI ML. Great session on the 5G use cases over millimeter wave. And this session will be moderated by Jerry Liviano. He's a distinguished engineer network planning from Verizon. Gary is the key member of our working group, and we work together a lot. He got a lot of experience on this topic, and he's going to have a great panel talking about millimeter wave use cases. Very high level, millimeter wave. What is millimeter wave? If you go back to IMT vision of 2020, we need a higher speed, we need a low latency, and we need a lot of devices to support. Millimeter wave has potential to support all of them. Millimeter wave operates as a frequency in a 24 gigahertz higher range, which allow us to carry with a large spectrum and large bandwidth a lot of information, with results in a low latency applications. Use cases, tons of use cases we got with the 5G millimeter wave. Fixed wireless technology, if we can add fixed wireless technology, a millimeter wave as another band, which can provide a great speed to the end user. Last mile fiber copper complements. We see the rural area where you have school, hospital. What if we provide the last mile fiber? Instead of fiber, we provide the millimeter wave option. That helps a lot. Stadiums, large indoor event. You see thousands of people gathering in a stadium watching event. Millimeter wave solution can help a lot to support those end users. Industry 4.0, we heard about that from Dave also on the smart factory. Challenges, yes, physics is a challenge. You cannot have the signal travel further. It gets a lot of obstruction, propagation issues, a lot of other challenges. We need to find a way to come across this, and this panel is going to talk about how industry is handling those things. Finally, last topic, which is going to focus on the 6G and beyond. And this panel is going to be moderated by Andy Thiessen, from head of 5G XG of MITRE Corporation, and Prashant, Venki, and a few other folks are already part of the panel. What is lying ahead of us? We know that the future looks like everything will be connected, and we need to provide ubiquitous wireless connectivity for everyone. So we need to find the solutions and technology which can handle up. And terahertz spectrum, what else is lying ahead of us? There are a lot of technologies which can take 6G and beyond. What are the issues with 5G? Will 6G fix that? We'll find all those answers in this panel. Without spending too much time here, let me hand over to Rika Nakazawa from NTD Global, and I'm excited to listen what this panel has to talk about edge computing and AI ML topics. Rika?